Okay, so today we're going to talk about MLA format and how you need to set up your Beowulf paper so that it adheres to the guidelines of MLA format that I gave you in your assignment sheet. So the first thing that you need to do, if you haven't done so already, is to open up and create a new document in Google Docs. Hopefully you've done this already because your papers are due next class, so now is not a great time to be starting on it, but nevertheless, here we are. So I've created a new document, and I'm just going to call mine Beowulf paper, and I'm ready to go. Okay, so the first thing that you definitely want to do is make sure to change your font to Times New Roman 12-point font, okay, because that is the requirement for the paper. On the first page of your paper is always going to be your name in the upper left-hand corner. We're going to call this person Joe Student. That's not a real person's name as far as I know, but we're going to go with it. The second thing that you always put on the first page is your teacher's name. That's me. The third thing that you put is the class that your paper is for in MLA format. So this is English 11, and then I want you to also put your block. So this will depend on the person, obviously, but let's say, I don't know, 6 block. And the last thing is the date. This is how you format dates in MLA format. 30 September 2016. You do it exactly like that, no commas between numbers and dates. Don't ask me why MLA format is like that. I just know that it is, so that's how we do it. Okay? All right, so the next thing that your paper needs is a title. Your paper is not called Beowulf. That title's already been taken. It's not called Beowulf paper because that's unoriginal. Okay, you need to come up with some sort of creative title. Hopefully more creative than that, but a title that reflects essentially what your paper is about, okay? So you've got your title for your paper, and you always want to center that. Notice I didn't make it bold, I didn't underline it or anything like that. It's just exactly the same as everything else. I'm going to come back over to the left, hit Tab to start a new paragraph, and start typing, okay? Great. So that's basically what you need to do. I'm going to just extend this out a bit to show you what to do next. So you write lots of brilliant things in your paper. Okay. Now, one of the requirements also is that you make sure your paper is double spaced. And notice I didn't do that yet. So what I like to do is write my whole paper and then double space it all at the end, and that way you can make sure that you didn't miss anything or that your Google Docs program didn't do anything weird. So I've written my whole paper, we'll say. I just highlight all of the text, and then I want to go to my spacing options, line spacing right here, and I want to double space it. Okay. All right. Other things that you need. You also need a header on every page that has your last name and the page number. So I'm going to go to Insert, Header, and the header goes on the right side. So I'm going to put my last name, or in this case, student last name. I'm going to press space, and then I'm going to also insert page number. Okay. And the reason we do it like that, get out of here. The reason we do it like that is because now the page number will automatically switch to page 2, page 3, and so on as your paper goes on. If you just type the number 1 in there instead of inserting page number, then every single page is going to say 1, which is not what we want. We want the actual page number. Now you'll notice that this is not Times New Roman 12-point font. You have to change it. Times New Roman 12-point. And the other thing is that Google Docs puts this header up super high for some reason, and when you print it, it will get cut off. So the way that you can fix that is to just press enter once, twice, and you're good to go. So now when you print, that will actually show up on the page instead of getting cut off by the printer. Okay, that's pretty much it as far as how the first page should look with your name and your title and your page number. You should also know that when you cite things in Beowulf, like let's say that you make a great point illustrated by a quote in the text, that you should cite the line number that that quote came from. So, and that looks like this. Typically you would put the author's last name in parentheses here, but we don't have an author per se. We have a translator. So all you're going to do is put the line number that you found that quote on, and you should be good to go there. You do need to have quotes from the text, by the way. Anything that you say in your paper about, places where Beowulf is or is not demonstrating heroic qualities, you need to make sure that you are supporting those statements with evidence from the text of actual things that happen. And when you do put those things into your paper, you have to cite the line number that they came from. Okay? All right. So the last thing is your works cited page. All right? And that's going to look like this. Your works cited page should have its own title, and that title will be works cited. Now, it says work instead of works because you're only citing one thing, Beowulf. If you were citing multiple things, it would say works cited, but you're not. You're only citing one thing, so works cited. Okay? Press enter, come back over here to the left side, and now I'm ready to put my citation in for Beowulf. Okay, so it's not realistic to think that you're always going to memorize exactly how to cite everything. So one resource that you can use if you're trying to figure out how to cite something is the Purdue University Online Writing Lab, the Purdue OWL. Just Google it. It's a great resource for you. The version that we have of Beowulf is a single work, Beowulf, in an anthology or collection, right? Our textbook is a collection of things. So this is the basic format here. The only real difference that we're going to use is that instead of an editor, we're going to have a translator. Burton Raffel is the translator of Beowulf in our textbook. So that's what we're going to do. Now this right here says last name, first name. Again, that's for if you have an author, and we don't have an author. We have a translator. So we're going to skip this part, and we're going to go straight to the title of what we read, and that was Beowulf. So that looks like this. Oops. Beowulf. Okay. Now the name of the textbook that it comes from gets italicized. So that's the name of our textbook is Prentice Hall Literature. Be good if I could capitalize literature. The British Tradition. Okay. I go back over here, look and see what's next. So that was title of the collection. Edited by, and then the editor's name. So we don't have an editor, but we're going to have our translator's name. Okay. The next thing is the publisher, the year that it was published, and the range of pages. Okay. So for us, we can find those things on the title page of your textbook. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm flipping to the title page so that I can find that information. It's not realistic to think that you're just going to know that off the top of your head. Okay. Okay, so I'm at the title page, and I've got the information that I need in front of me, so I'm going to go ahead and plug it back in. I'll double check to make sure I've got things in the right order. So the name of the publisher. Okay. The name of the publisher is Pearson Education. The year that it was published, according to my title page here, is 2007. And the range of page entry. So Now we have to actually find Beowulf in the text, and Beowulf that we read was on pages 41 through 62. Okay. And then the last thing that you need to make sure you put, which it doesn't include on the Purdue OWL, is just the word print, and that indicates that this came from a book and not from an electronic source. So I'm going to just double check this format, make sure. Oh, looks like I should have had a comma here instead of a period, so I'll fix that. Translated by Burton Raffel. And same thing here, I should have had a comma instead of a period. Okay. All right, now the very last thing that you need to do with MLA format on a works cited page is any citation that you have that is more than one line long, the second line of that needs to be indented. Google Docs makes it very difficult to do this, all right? So the first thing that you have to do is highlight your citation and move over. Oh, that's too far. Move over, there we go, ½ an inch. All right, now it makes you move the whole thing over. But now if you come up here and you grab just this little rectangle, you can move the first line back. So then what you have is first line not indented, second line is indented. And the reason you do this, just in case you're wondering, is if you were to ever have multiple citations. Bloop, 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 bloop. Okay, it helps to separate them out. Okay, so here would be your first citation, and then your second one would start here. And you know, maybe this is a super long citation for some reason, and it's 3 lines long. Okay, when I enter back down to my next one, it just jumps right back over to the left. But obviously none of that applies to you because we just have the one thing. So your works cited page is going to look like this. So again, first page of your paper has your name, it has my name, it has your class and your block, it has the date that your paper is due, it has a creative title that has something to do with your with what your paper is about, it has your last name and your page number on every page, and then you have a works cited page at the end that is labeled works cited. It's got the title of Beowulf, the title of the textbook it came from, the translator, the publisher, the date, the pages, and so on. And so that is the basic format for MLA.